Hello again, internet friends. Thanks for joining me. In this video, I wanted to balance out what I talked about in the last video. And if you missed the last video, go back and watch it. We discuss why I think you should be implementing the squat, bench, and deadlift into your training, why I think powerlifting type movements are functional, and why even if you're not a powerlifter, you don't want to do a powerlifting meet, you should be implementing powerlifting tools and techniques into your training, and why I think those are more effective than most things for just building overall strength. But it can be easy to get the impression from that video that I think you should be spending the majority of your time training doing the squat, bench, and deadlift, and that's not necessarily true. And so today I wanted to talk about why we're training in the first place, go back to the idea that training is driven by what the goal is, and I think that'll help broaden your guys' horizons and help you understand how movements like the squat, bench, and deadlift are optimal in my opinion, but fit into a broader picture about what we're trying to do. For the majority of you, you're preparedness-minded people. You want to be as strong and as in shape as possible so that you can respond effectively to worst-case scenarios. So obviously, strength is going to be a big part of that. If you're fighting with somebody, if you're having to pick somebody up and move them, if you're having to push a car off the road that's been broken down, those things all require you to be strong, but they also require you to be fit and in shape. And like I talked about in the last video, we can very effectively accomplish that with the squat, bench, and deadlift, and then adding cardio movements and workouts on top of those things. But we can accomplish those a lot of other ways as well. For example, we don't necessarily think of push-ups and bodyweight squats as effective strength movements, but if you're just starting out or very out of shape, taking your ability to do 5 bodyweight squats all the way up to being able to do 100, you got a lot stronger, and you also increased your work capacity and your conditioning a little bit. And so with something like a bodyweight squat, there's going to come a point where that's not really an effective strength exercise, because if you're doing 100 reps of something, is it really strength work anymore? It's kind of an endurance exercise now. But for a lot of you who aren't that advanced in your training history, doing more bodyweight squats, if that's all you have access to, or maybe that's all you have the time to do because you don't have a gym membership or you don't want to take the time to drive to the gym, that's absolutely an effective way to train. And on top of that, if you have a 25-pound kettlebell or a 50-pound weight vest sitting around the house, again, that's not necessarily strength training in the traditional sense, but guess what? If you can do 100 squats with a 25 or 50-pound weight vest on, you're not only going to be a lot stronger than you were before, you're going to have a lot better endurance and a lot better cardio. And when we go back to our goal, which is to be prepared as possible for worst case scenarios, you're thinking about running through the mountains, running and gunning, fire and maneuvering. We're having to pick people up and drag them, all these different types of things. That satisfies the physical requirements that we're going to need to have in these situations. Now, if you're at the point where you can do 100 bodyweight squats with a 50-pound vest and you still want to get stronger, then you need to start considering something that allows you to handle more weight, like a barbell back squat. The point I'm trying to get at is that for the majority of you guys who are beginner and intermediate athletes, you don't need to worry so much about what type of training you're doing, and more so you need to worry about being consistent with it and progressing the intensity and volume in a manageable fashion. Because when you're weak and out of shape, or maybe just don't have a lot of years of training under your belt, it doesn't matter if you do bodyweight squats for 100 reps. It doesn't matter if you do a back squat for a set of 5. You're going to get better and you're going to improve. And as you become more advanced and you get in better shape and you get stronger, then you're going to have to worry a little bit more about taking certain periods of time to build certain qualities, and you're going to have to focus on building strength in a strength session and conditioning in a conditioning session. But for a lot of you, you can see huge improvements by just doing anything, and you're going to see an increase in all your qualities overall. Because your body's so new to the stimulus of training, doing anything kind of makes you good at everything. And so the powerlifting movements, squat, bench, and deadlift, have a very important role in the training that I do with my online athletes. But there's so much more to what's going on here than just getting stronger and just the power lifts. And so if you don't know how to do the squat, bench, and deadlift, if you don't like doing them, if you don't have access to them, don't let that limit you. and make you not train. Because relative to most of your guys' beginner and intermediate fitness levels, doing anything consistently and progressively harder over time is gonna get you good at almost everything. And the consistency that you establish and whatever physical qualities you do manage to build, even if your training is not optimal, that will carry you into more optimal training and workouts in the future. And if you're doing bodyweight squats and push-ups, even though that's not the best and most effective strength exercise, you're going to be in better shape, you're going to have more muscle mass, and you will have practiced the movement of the squat and the press, which will take you into a heavy squat and bench, and that will make you more effective at those movements, and you'll be able to handle more weight on those movements. So I'm being a little bit rambly, but hopefully I've made my point, which is that if you guys are in the early stages of your training career, don't stress about what's optimal. Don't worry about my squat, my bench, my deadlift. Just do something. Just be consistent, because we're not just trying to be as strong and as jacked as possible. And for many of you guys, it doesn't matter what you do right now. If you just do something that's even mildly productive, you're going to see great progress if you do it consistently. So don't let what you think is perfect be the enemy of the good and the consistent, which is ultimately what's going to lead you to optimal training. Anyway, that's it for me. Sorry if this video was a little bit more rambly. We'll try and be more structured in the next one. Before I go, I want to do a big shout out to our first sponsor, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This video is brought to you by William and Melinda Gates. I'm big fans of theirs, have been so for years. They're buying up the farmland, they're taking over the medical policies. It's going to be great. So if you have the time and the inclination, make sure to get over to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation website and see what they're about and support them if you can. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, put in the comments what you would like to see more videos on. If you have questions or things you're not sure about, feel free to DM me on Instagram. I respond to all my messages there. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.